Now we're going to talk about some of the not the rookies, but the NBA young players as a whole that have kind of balled out this first week. And I think everybody now, for the most part, has played 2 games except for a few teams. But yeah, I don't know where to start. Selfishly, I kind of want to start with my guy VJ. 34 points. I don't remember how many threes he had, but I know he had a lot. Was getting downhill. What I'm really liking about this fit next to a guard like Tyrese, like Joel Embiid played, but he was pretty much a non-factor out there. That knee is still busted, unfortunately. But it's like Tyrese was drawing so much attention, and he was capitalizing off of it so well. Like whether he was attacking the closeout, hitting the open 3, and like the 3 ball, I thought was kind of, again, it's only 1 game, so I'm not trying to overreact. But him like shooting it that well the first game is not something I would have expected. And you add that in with his athleticism and transition and in the half court, like it really does make him such a nice, I guess, complimentary player to have with a guy like Maxey.
Yeah, he's someone that there was some finishing concerns when he came into the league. Like that was a big question mark. His percentages weren't very high. He definitely looked to get those ironed out in that Celtics game. He was finishing everything, whether it was dunking through traffic, finishing tough layups through contact. Like he was kind of electric all night. He made threes at a clip that I didn't foresee. If this is who he is, obviously he's not going to score 34. But if he's going to be this level of play finisher, I think he's going to be in for a really big.
Yeah, I mean, his explosiveness was on display. I think that huge dunk that he had early in the game against Boston was that was eye-opening, because we knew that he was one of the more athletic players in this recent draft, maybe the most athletic player. But to show it at the NBA level in your first game as one of your first buckets was really impressive. I know we're talking about the shooting and the way that really elevated his ability to be a high volume scorer. So to have both aspects in your first game at the NBA level is almost insane for a guy that we did have some question marks offensively. Was the efficiency going to be there? And he pretty much answered it right away.
Yeah, I think obviously he's not going to score 34 every game as a rookie. That's just not realistic. But I think it showed a clear kind of pathway for his career. Like he's going to be a guy, can't leave open. He's still a threat even when you're worrying about the star player. And I think with his tools that he has, if he also becomes more effective when he's kind of initiating offense, whether that be the pick and roll, things like that, when he's being more of kind of, I guess, the lead on ball guy, if he adds that together, then I really think I'm hesitant to call him a star, but I really think that once he gets that together and he has the tools to do it, just because of the first step, the athleticism, the ability to get downhill, once that comes together, or if it comes together ever, then I think we can have some nasty conversations about VJ. But yeah, even just as another guard, I'm really excited about him going forward. Are we counting Wemby as a young guy? Year 3?
I mean, we can just kind of touch on it really briefly to everybody is, but it's something we've never seen.
Yeah, that's the only reason I wanted to bring this up.
It's insane that he's this good as a third-year player, and how he keeps growing his game is really impressive to me. You can just kind of tell they're really deliberate at itself. Last year, they really focused on getting him to work on his perimeter skills, shoot the 3 a little bit more. This year, you can tell he's definitely working on his inside game, and all the people he worked out with during the offseason have really added to his game in physical ways.
There was a great shot in yesterday's game at the time we're recording this against the New Orleans Pelicans near the end of the game. They've got a tight shot on Zion Williamson, and he's guarding Wembanyama, and the camera just keeps going up and up and up and up, and you couldn't even see Zion's face by the time they were showing Wemby on that tight shot. I mean, it's not fair. You've got a guy like Zion Williamson, one of the most physically imposing players who did dunk on Wemby. We cannot forget about that. That was a crazy
Dunked on
highlight.
him twice.
Yeah. And so, that's one of the most athletic players in the NBA. And Wembanyama is just not even on the same plane as him at times. He's shooting over him, or he's going right over the top of a guy like Williamson. It's just incredible to see.
Yeah, he had 9 blocks yesterday. Almost had his first triple-double of the season, I think. You don't have to spend too much time on him, but when you're
9 blocks.
But like in the Mavericks game, he was taking AD off the dribble comfortably and like just dunking over him. That I think he only had 1 3, but that little when he got hot and yeah, bro, it's
he's if you have to like build a team to like defend him, it would be the Mavericks. And how he treated them that first game was very rude of him. Like just everything he did was insane. But while we're on the Spurs, how did you guys feel about Dylan Harper's performance in the first few games so far?
Harper, I think he's done a really good job of like I didn't see all of the game yesterday, but I think he's done a really good job of like maximizing his reps when he's not had the ball in his hands, and even when he does, like I think he had quite a bit of turnovers, but I kind of went and watched all of them, and like they weren't bad turnovers, they were like just kind of we're still trying to build that connection because I think a lot of them were lobs and like he had a few to Wemby. I think one yesterday where he threw it like too high. But outside of that, like, yeah, I think he hasn't even hit his peak for just this season. And I think he's still giving them quite a lot of good minutes. Just knowing where to go with the ball, when to cut, taking advantage of, the spacing that he has on the floor. Like Harper has looked really polished, in my opinion. He's low-key kind of the perfect Spurs player now that I've kind of seen him on the floor, just kind of like with that IQ and like the things that he does, the feel he has. Like he's been really good in my opinion.
We're seeing him hit double figures scoring, and I feel like at all times when he's been on the floor, he's been at best the second option offensively. So to see him be that effective when they're not even really drawing anything up for him to get a shot off, like that's exactly what they have to be excited about with Dylan Harper, because once he does get that opportunity to be, that 1-2 punch potentially next to a guy like Victor Wembanyama, what is that ceiling going to look like? Because he's already putting up 15 points off the bench in a game where he's basically just like a fill-in offensive player.
Yeah, he to me it's like kind of strikingly similar to Castle in a lot of ways. Like they both like have this ability to get downhill and really like finish around the rim at a high level. That was the most impressive part to me about Harper's first game was like how easily he got downhill and like how he could finish in contact. So I'm encouraged. I think he just like can't really describe it or put my finger on it. It just looks like to me that he has it in a way. Like he has, like when I see him play and I see like how he adjusts to the speed of the NBA game, he doesn't look too sped up, even though he has had a few turnovers here and there. He just looks like somebody who's going to be a potential like down the line all-star. So,
all right, yeah, but Cooper, I feel like kind of a clown for coming on here and talking about him because in preseason, like the reps with him at point guard look pretty solid. Now, it's like it's definitely that learning curve is hit and it's only 2 games in, but I still think that it can work. It's just the turnovers and like him not really putting pressure on the defense when he does have the ball in his hands has kind of been the main culprit of why it doesn't seem like it's working out so far. Again, I know we have to wait a while, but I am interested to see what it looks like when Kyrie is back. And even they have D'Angelo Russell also, so I do want to see more of like what those minutes with him and Flagg together look like, just when Flagg isn't being asked to do so much and he can be a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Flagg?
I mean, this is kind of the plan. Like, in a way, like, I get a lot of people are like kind of up in arms. They don't want to see him like run point guard because at the end of the day, it's not the best way to use his skills as currently constructed. Like, he's not a point guard. However, I think it's like you kind of have to deal with the growing pains in order to get like the long range reward from it down the line. I think we've seen it work with Giannis. We've seen it work with Tatum to a certain extent. It's not going to be pretty at first, just because the different coverages and stuff that he's seeing is stuff he's never even had to deal with on like high school level. It's really hard for actual guards to translate to the league early, just because of how complex the defenses are, how fast the game is moving. Let alone trying to get somebody who's never really played this role into this role. So I expect some growing pains. However, like I'm just kind of, I think the risk is worth the reward. I don't think you're going to like ruin him as a player if he doesn't have a successful. If he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, I think it's not the end of the world. I think the potential gain or reward down the line of him being like able to run an offense, being able to play that like point forward role, could ultimately be the difference of him being like a multiple-time All-Star versus like a perennial All-NBA guy. So I think it's just kind of the necessary thing you kind of have to sacrifice up front.
I think it's interesting too because they have so many players that make them competitors now, or in theory should. But at the same time, you do, to your point, Cameron, you do also kind of have to juggle like developing your player with also competing. And so I think that's also just the tough part that the Mavericks are having to deal with. Jason Kidd, obviously, we talked about this. I think it seems like they're going to keep trying to do this down the road. But Flagg, I still think, he can win that Rookie of the Year, obviously. It's 2 games in, but we'll see how it looks throughout the rest of the season.